Hey, thanks for joining me today for episode number 83 of Podcasting Your Brand. I'm your host, producer Jemmy, providing learning lessons for you to podcast your brand. And today I'm going to be sharing my next Podcasting 102 topic, the best trailer for your show. This episode is brought to you by my own brand, Flintstone Media. Listen in and let's do this first, starting with one of my daily tips. Hey, it's producer Jemmy here with your tip for today. And let's continue talking about monetization. In order to monetize, in order to secure that sponsorship, I want to encourage you to really brainstorm and think through how you can create a sponsorship experience that is above and beyond anything else any other show is doing, beyond the basic sponsorship package. So here are a couple ideas. So yeah, they can come on and be a content contributor. That's already above and beyond. But what if they come on and actually help you answer listener questions? That way they can engage with your audience very directly. Or perhaps they have a product or service that they can offer you that you can offer then your audience as a giveaway, as part of a gift, a prize for a contest or something of that nature. Or maybe it's something fun, like if you have a particular skill set, like maybe you can do great character voices. So you offer to do their ad, create a character, made up character voice for their ad and making an experience that way. I don't know. I'm brainstorming, and that's what I want you to do. Think about what uniqueness you can bring to the table and create an experience for your sponsors well above and beyond any other basic sponsorship package. Come back here every day, podcastingyourbrand.com for more tips. I'm producer Jemmy. All right, so be sure that you're following me all over social media, but primarily with the debut of Threads, now Threads, Instagram, of course, Facebook, let's see, YouTube, TikTok, just follow me all over the place so you can get all of my daily tips and you get them first. And also, you want to be able to interact with me live. You don't say. Well, you can do that through one of my small group live workshops, whether you want to launch your show or take it from flopped and failing to fixed. Then you can join me, and it's a live, very fun, interactive experience. Just go to toppodcastworkshop.com and we'll have a really good time together. Okay, so now let's get on to today's lesson. So when you're doing a trailer, whether it's to start a brand new show or to transition to a new season or whatever other bevy of reasons you might want to do your trailer, what are the best options? Should you just do a simple description and intro of yourself, thus setting up a trailer that's very different from anything else you're going to ever put out ever? Or should it just be a regular episode from the jump? Or is there a third option? Let's explore. So as I touched on back on episode 41, which was one of my launching episodes, we talked specifically about your trailer. And I gave a little bit of a history lesson. So I'll just go through that super fast because it's important if you want to understand why we even have trailers that are just simple descriptions. Simple descriptions existed because back in the day when you were submitting your show to the platforms, it could sometimes take like 2 weeks. It was crazy. You'd just be sitting there checking every couple of hours for like 2 weeks to see if it finally landed in iTunes or whatever. It was nuts, right? It would take forever. So the thing is, the conundrum was that you had to have something on your feed. You had to have an episode before you could actually submit your show to the platforms. They wouldn't accept it. So here's the thing, if you put a full episode as your first thing on your feed and you're like, here's my launch date, but no one can listen to it because it's a couple weeks before it's actually available. So the fix was this short description intro where you might just read a description of your show or just say, hi, I'm the host. This is what we're doing here. And that's it. And it was really like a throwaway piece of audio. If someone listened to it, great. If not, all right, no worries. But really what it was like a placeholder in order to submit the show to the platforms. It was going to be this interim piece just to exist there. So yeah, a little short description rather than a full episode made a lot of sense. If it was going to be missed, because it likely was going to be just kind of skipped over as the trailer, then making it just something really short and sweet. And if they did listen to it, they became more informed about the show. Wonderful. But that's where that started from. So it's still a viable option. I still do that with a lot of my clients today. That's still sometimes how we launch their show, is just a quick, brief description. But actually, in launching my most recent show, my other show, Power Moms, flagship show of the Power Moms Network, I came up with the idea for this episode because I was like, oh my gosh, I sent out my trailer for that episode, got really great feedback. And sometimes the feedback was like, oh my gosh, this is like a whole full episode. I'm like, yeah, but this isn't actually what the episodes are going to sound like. So in making sense of it all and describing my strategy, I was like, well, why don't I just kind of put this together as an episode of the different options that you can have, and then why to choose those options and how to go about coming up with that great trailer. So again, a simple descriptive trailer, just a description of your show, of you as a host. It's just a quick couple of minutes. You take that audio, you edit the vocals, make it sound nice, and then you marry it to whatever music bed you've selected as the music bed for your show. Bing, bam, boom. It's a couple minutes long and it's done. And it's easy, and it's peasy, and you're done. And that's your trailer. And you just make sure that you mark it in your podcast hosting account as a trailer. Okay, there's usually an option, full trailer, bonus, a full episode, bonus, or a trailer. Make sure you mark that as your trailer. Easy peasy. But again, we no longer need that kind of patch, right? We no longer need that placeholder. So because now the platforms will accept your show, like sometimes within a matter of seconds, this is no longer necessary. So that means that the opportunity for creativity as to what to be the first thing that actually exists on your feed, because now as soon as you say, this is my launch date, and people are like, okay, great, it actually is available on that date, live on all the platforms, easy peasy peasy. You can do it within couple of hours and make it all make sense right there on one day. So the possibilities now can open up. So that brings us to the most obvious one, was just a basic regular episode. In fact, a lot of podcasters transition to this strategy. So when that whole interim period just shrank down, they said, well, we're just going to start putting together a full regular episode. We'll plan on having that released to the feeds at, let's say, 8:00 in the morning. We'll do our due diligence trying to get, it onto all the platforms. By 10:00, it'll be everywhere. We'll start announcing. We can get it on social media. We can start promoting it. Woohoo! People are listening to our first regular episode right out the gate. A lot of podcasters made that their strategy and their decision. Easy peasy and fine. So, however, it's not just all or nothing. It's not just either something super short or a regular episode. There are a lot of options in between, okay? And they kind of fall within the scope of two. So the first one is a hybrid episode. Essentially what this is, and this is the first kind of outside the box thing that I played with. The first time I did this was on People of Florida, and actually include the trailer for People of Florida in the show links. This is exactly how I did this one. So People of Florida had 3 different segments to that show. And so because of that, what I decided to do, rather than doing a separate trailer where I described the show and then an episode as episode 1, I just did a hybrid where I did it all as one thing. And so essentially what I did was a full episode, but in each part, at the beginning of each new part, I gave myself space to explain what was happening. So in the intro, I explained the overall umbrella concept of the show, what I was going to be doing with the show. And then with the first segment, describe what the purpose of that segment was and what people can expect to hear on that segment moving forward. And then I had an actual segment of that. And same thing with the second segment, same thing with the third. And then I closed out the show. So it was a full regular episode. But it was explained along the way. So that was a hybrid episode. So that is your other option that you can choose. But then the other way of thinking through things is just a highlight episode. So what a highlight episode is, it gives people a taste of what's to come. Yeah, you might hear me talk about sizzle reels a whole bunch on this show because I kind of love them. So just to explain what a sizzle reel is really quickly, it's just a highlight reel of your show. So some quick clips, 30 seconds to a minute long each, sewn together basically to give a quick idea of the breadth and depth of your show. Okay. Quick highlight of you as a host, highlight of a guest that you might have, something topical, whatever, sewn together with some transitional pieces, either bleeps or pieces from the audio, from the music bed from the show for branding purposes. You can do that, but you piece that together, boom, sizzle reel. Okay. So, but in and of itself, a sizzle reel is great. Right? Okay. So what I actually did with Power Moms, the newest show, was I had a full trailer episode, but then I also had just a quick sizzle reel. So the sizzle reel was included in the full trailer episode, but then I also plucked it out, added one extra little clip onto it to entice people to still listen to it. And then I had that as just a sizzle reel. So as I was really ramping up the show, I'll get into more about launch strategy on episode 84, but I'll explain this even more in depth, but that's what I did. So a sizzle reel can exist on its own. Okay. But you can also have a sizzle reel as part of an overall highlight episode. So what that means was it's a fully unique episode, right? It's going to sound still like nothing else on you're ever going to do on the show ever again. It's very explanatory, but it really is setting the stage. It's giving the audience a sense of really letting them know that they are in the right place, because you're describing not just the show, but you're really going into depth about who the audience is, who you want your listener to be, how you want them to engage with you, and why you're doing the show. You might go into a little bit of your backstory and go more in depth that way. But then here's the key. It's a highlight show. So what past content do you have that really speaks to the value of your show? So you want to highlight or demonstrate some of the most important elements of your show. So similar to a trailer, like a movie trailer would be, you're going to want to answer some of these questions by putting together this kind of highlight episode. You're going to answer these questions. What's the value for your audience member? That way, when they hear the answer to that, when you've explained and fleshed out the value of the show, they know whether or not the show is going to resonate for them. Who's your target audience? They're going to be able to say then, oh yeah, that's me. Okay. Single moms over 35 who live in Michigan. Oh, that's me. Who's your audience? You also want them to know who you are as a host. So in doing the Power Moms trailer, I actually did share my backstory because I thought it was really important to explain why I was so enthusiastic about and passionate about doing that show. So who are you as a host? You can totally flesh that out in this highlight trailer too. And what will the format be? So instead of going the first route with a hybrid and going through an actual full episode, you can just kind of explain what the format's going to be, walk them through the concepts of it. We're going to do this, and then I'm going to have a guest who's going to help me talk about that. And then I'm going to close out the show by doing a takeaway centered around da-da-da, and then giving you a call to action. Right? What will the format be? Then also you can tell people how often you'll be releasing. So it's a more in-depth explainer of your show than just a quick description read or just a quick brief intro of who you are as the host. So it's a lot more into it. So again, whether you are starting a brand new show, doing an intro to a new season, transitioning to a new season of your show, or there's something fresh and new with your show, a trailer can be something that you put out regularly or every once in a while on your show. It doesn't have to be just at the beginning, but these are all different ways that you can really maximize the power of this trailer. So again, you want to highlight and demonstrate the value through answering all those questions. But also, what past content can you pull? So is there stuff that you've done in the past, whether it's some public speaking gigs, whether it's a past podcast you did that you had a focus in on this topic and you can pull some clips from? If it's, by the way, if it is past public speaking gigs, make sure you get permission from the organizers. They may have rights to that content, just a disclaimer. Okay. But so it can be past clips from that. It could be you as a guest on another show, similar thing, ask permission, see if you can pull a clip from you as a guest on another show. Whatever you have as past content, your past social media posts, if there's anything in your past that you've put out there that really speaks to the kind of content you're going to be putting out on the show, you can use that as like a demonstration of what the show is going to be bringing out. Similarly, if you've already been recording episodes and content for the show and so you have some great stuff banked, you can pull from that. So not just your past stuff, but also your future stuff. You can pull from that. So I did that with Power Moms trailer. I pulled some clips from some episodes. I had some interviews I had recorded at Mom 2.0. I took some quick highlight clips from that, sewed that together, and put that in the middle of my trailer as a sizzle reel to really highlight what the kind of content that people are going to be hearing along the future episodes. So past content, great. Future content, great. Also remembering what questions, the general information that you can really flesh out. And third, okay, you want to also put into this more fleshed out highlight episode. This is really, really important. What action do you want your listener to take? Do you want them to go to your website and sign up for your newsletter? Do you want them, well, make sure they obviously are compelled to subscribe to your show. So that should be one. Do you want them to engage with you on social media somehow? Like, what is it that you want your listener to do? What is that immediate action, whether they're still listening to it or they just finished your episode? What is that immediate action that you want them to take so they can prepare for joining you on this journey of being part of your audience ongoing, right? What is that immediate action? Is there a Facebook group that you started that you want them to join? Are you kind of just doing a soft launch, a pre-launch, and there's going to be a real launch date, like to do something live on social, and you want them to put that in their calendar, whatever it is. What is the main call to action, the main driving thing that you want them to do that's going to lock them in as a listener, as an audience member, as a community member for you? What is it? So think about those three things when you're putting together, if you decide to put together a more fleshed out highlight episode. Number one, the most important elements of your show, the who, the why, the what, the where, the when, how. Okay. And then number two, any past or future content that can really demonstrate the value of the show. And then three, what action do you want your audience member to be compelled to take immediately upon hearing your trailer? Then think about whether your show and your goals are best served by simply doing a quick intro demo trailer. Is it best served by doing a full episode, or is it best served by doing either a hybrid episode or a full highlight episode? Really think about what your audience is going to want and how you're going to best prepare them to be a part of the experience of being your audience member ongoing. So the sky's the limit. So just have fun and get creative. But now there are no boundaries for what you can do with a trailer and when and how you can use it. And up next in episode 84, I'm going to be taking this discussion to the podcasting 102 level by talking about how you can not only strategically come up with the kind of trailer you can have, but then also how you go about launching. Is it 2 episodes out the gate? Do you double up that week? Do you have a trailer plus something else? How do you launch your show? What is the best strategy to come out the gate and have an impact? We're going to cover that next on episode 84 as we take this discussion for launching and your trailer and all that to the podcasting 102 level. All right, now let's end with one more of my daily tips. But first, I just want to remind you to follow me on social media, including now on Threads from Instagram, because I'm there giving out stuff, all tips and whatnot all the time, and just want to connect with you. It's a really fun experience, very similar to Twitter, but a lot less negativity. So I'm enjoying my time on Threads. So join me on Threads, on Instagram, but also, still on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and blah, 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 blah. Okay. You want to get all my tips. I want to interact with you. I want to answer your questions. That's one of my favorite things is to answer people's questions. In fact, I was just on Threads answering questions today. So make sure that you're following me because you never know where you're going to find me to be able to answer your questions in real time. And then reach out to me at podcastingyourbrand.com. You can also email me at Jemme, spelled Jaime, at flintstonemedia.com. I almost forgot my own email address at flintstonemedia.com. And you can ask me questions that I can answer in a future episode for you or on one of my future daily tips. The point is, I'm super excited to connect with you. I literally do this show for you. So I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me anytime, podcastingyourbrand.com. Remember, the only thing more powerful than your voice is your spirit to use it. So turn that mic on. Now let's get to my other daily tip. Hey, it is producer Jemme. I just finished recording episode 72, so I'm here with your daily tip. And yesterday, I talked about how if you have a show that you do both as a video offering, as an audio-only offering as well, then your audio-only version should be edited a little bit more than your video version. And if you don't know why, then yesterday's last tip will help you, the last tip from Friday. But today, I want to help you cut down on the editing time. So there are a couple ways that you can do it. First, edit the video version first and then export that audio as the starting point for editing your audio version of your show, the audio only version. The second thing that you can do is while you're editing the video version of your show, check out the timestamps. Take note of the timestamps for if you do a couple of takes, for example, for your intro or your close, and you know which take was the good one. Note the timestamps for that good take, and then follow those timestamps for the audio version. You can make those edits a little bit faster. So I hope that helps you. Podcastingyourbrand.com every day. I'm producer Jemmy. The Power Moms Network, empowering moms to lift the world.